Thank you so much, Shankar. A great presentation there. You managed to cover off an awful lot in a short amount of time. So, well done for that, and for covering the landscape pretty efficiently and very well there. So, thank you so much for that presentation. Really
My
nice.
pleasure. Yeah.
One of the slides that resonated most was somewhere in the middle, the slide that said about digital transformation is enabled by effective communication. Now, love that slide and love that sentiment. It's something we hear so much of at this event series, and so much of the private sector kind of echo that sentiment as well. What I want to put to you is how difficult has kind of effective communication been over the last 12 months, kind of given the restrictions and barriers that have been put up in every sense of the word.
Well, I mean, needless to say, the inability to shake hands and meet people in person has been a big damper.
Mm-hmm.
But this is where I think the digital communication aspect has really become a powerful technique. Good news, is with technology, we are still able to perform what we need to do. Today morning, I was reading an article where somebody asked a rhetorical question. Had this pandemic happened 20 years ago, where would we be?
Yeah.
We would be in hell.
Yeah.
Right? Today, what we're blessed with is great connectivity, the world has become smaller. And against that backdrop, we're still able to do things. And this is where the digital communication techniques become a powerful tool to keep everybody abreast of what's going on, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. That's a good answer. We've had a question coming from the audience here, from Jimmy. So thank you to Jimmy for this. You mentioned in case study 1, the project has been going on for 3 years. Can you please explain if you are recognizing incremental measured value on an ongoing basis?
Absolutely. Yeah. That is the trick, right? The increase, measuring value over increments, and the increments in this case being various portfolios, right? And each portfolio has a different characteristic when you do this, because when you think in terms of a large telecom enterprise, it has multiple portfolios, including provisioning, engineering, planning, and so on and so forth. You address each one of them, and you address different geographical regions, regionally, nationally, internationally. So in each area, now you establish those performance measures, metrics, and you report them continuously. And that's what actually keeps the project going. I mean, unless you show that you're producing business value, somebody is going to say, you know what, enough is enough. There's a distraction.
Yeah, no, that's good. And then with the kind of again, a lot of focus kind of on the pandemic here. How have your kind of clients' needs changed throughout the pandemic? Have you seen a big shift towards bigger problem areas, or are we kind of looking at the same things we were looking at pre-pandemic?
Well, the pandemic has placed a very interesting challenge, right? On one end, I think, initially because of this shift to a full online culture, work from home culture, there was definitely a noticeable slowdown. But then once we got past it, there are new ideas. Many of the ideas are now focused on dealing with the pandemic.
Yeah.
And during the pandemic, many of the initiatives now are again focused on cybersecurity because of the current threat environment. More online selling because customers have become habituated more with online selling, right? So these have become big drivers, and especially in the technology sector, they have kept things very interesting. So we continue to keep busy, although we certainly are hoping for this pandemic to go away, and with the full-blown activity coming back, hopefully at the end of the spring here.
Yeah.
Right.
And then lastly, with digital transformation, obviously there are many elements of what makes for successful digital transformation. And I kind of closed off with this question as well with Shane earlier. And I just wanted to kind of gather from all the leaders that we have here today and kind of get an idea of what everyone thinks is the most crucial element to kind of successful transformation. And I just wanted to hear from you on that point of view, where you think the biggest enabler was for digital transformation, bar kind of effective communication as covered.
I think what really drives makes digital transformation worthwhile, because you asked the question what makes it successful. What makes it successful is producing this business value on a continuous ongoing basis. Business value defined both by qualitative and quantitative factors, right? So an understanding of that in the front end, through analysis, again, using enterprise architecture, again, as a vehicle to clarify some of those things, becomes critically important Wherever you can show something is faster, better, cheaper. I mean, it sounds very cliched. End of the day, that's common sense, right? And
Yeah,
that's what
sure.
we need to get to. Make
Sure.
it more intuitive, more easy, right? Make things, very simple, reduce complexity. So these are the key questions that we need to focus on to make digital transformation successful.
Sure. And then finally, just one more quick one as well. What would you say to any organization or agency that were looking at partnering with an organization like yourselves, and why should they kind of be working with organizations like Radiant Digital?
Well, simply because we get it, right? See, what I postulated today is, it is not technology for technology's sake. It's about technology producing business value. And I think, from our standpoint, I'm proud to say as a business, we have built a business around this message. We are structured that way. So when a federal government customer looks at, a potential partner to enable digital transformation, they need to look at all these facets. Beyond saying, are they technically competent? Do they understand how to enhance a great customer experience or produce great customer experience? Use the right tools, be able to communicate. You want that whole package, and that is the key, right? And that's what, we would like to really, encourage the CIOs to think through, that they build all these concepts into their procurement processes so that they end up getting really a true solution that is adopted by the users, not a solution that sits and gets mothballed.
Yeah. Good stuff. Well, Shankar, that's all we've got time for. Thank you again so much for joining, for your brilliant keynote presentation there. As mentioned, you covered a lot of ground there in a short space of time, and also for the Q&A session, some good insights offered there. You're obviously headline sponsor of this event. You supported us back in 2019, in person, and obviously through today in this online format. So it's brilliant to have you back with us. There'll be some resources shared on the conference page for getting in touch with Radiant Digital and Shankar's team as well. So do look at that. But thanks again, Shankar. A real pleasure to have you with us today.
No, it's my pleasure. I really enjoyed talking through this, and would be happy to support any questions that may come later.